Jody's mom is doing the same thing right now. We're all staying home. We're all enjoying home life. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
I hate it.
What if I told you that behind the perfect family facade of one of YouTube's most popular parenting channels, a darkness was growing that would shock the world? What if I told you that the woman who built her empire teaching millions how to raise children was simultaneously orchestrating something so disturbing that it would land her behind bars and expose a web of manipulation that reached far beyond her own family? Welcome back to Dark Trail Files, where we uncover the stories that lurk in the shadows of our society. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a case that shattered the illusion of social media perfection and revealed the dangerous intersection of influence, control, and unchecked power. If you're new here, we explore the most compelling true crime cases with the respect and thoroughness they deserve. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you won't want to miss a single episode as we continue to uncover the truth behind the headlines. This is the story of Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, two women whose paths crossed in a way that would forever change multiple lives and expose the dark underbelly of the family content creation industry. Ruby Franke wasn't always a household name, but by the early 2020s, her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, had amassed over 2 million subscribers. Families across America tuned in to watch Ruby navigate life with her husband Kevin and their 6 children. She positioned herself as an authority on parenting, sharing discipline strategies, family routines, and life lessons that resonated with countless viewers seeking guidance in their own parenting journeys. But behind the camera, something was shifting in ways that would prove catastrophic. Those who followed Ruby's content began noticing changes in her approach and demeanor. Her disciplinary methods became increasingly strict, and her content took on a harsher tone that made longtime viewers uncomfortable. What many didn't realize was that Ruby had begun working closely with someone who would fundamentally alter her worldview and transform her from a relatable mother into something far more sinister. Here's a clip where you can see the fear in her child's eyes during what appears to be a normal conversation. The subtle signs were there for those who knew how to look.
If you need anything, you can get me, okay? I sent Daddy over to the store. He's gonna go get some Pedialyte for you, okay, and some popsicles and ginger ale. So if any of those sound yummy, I can give them to you, okay?
But don't get them all to me.
Right, because that would make you sick. You just need to decide what sounds good and sip a little bit. Would a popsicle sound good, or a little bit of ginger ale, or some like Pedialyte? What do you think?
I like popsicles.
Okay, you just wait here. Try to get some rest, okay? Close your eyes.
Enter Jodi Hildebrandt, a licensed clinical mental health counselor who ran a business called Connections. Hildebrandt presented herself as an expert in helping individuals overcome what she termed distortions in their thinking, but her methods were unconventional to say the least. She had developed a devoted following among those seeking alternative approaches to therapy and personal development, targeting people who felt failed by traditional therapeutic methods. Jodi's philosophy centered around the idea that people needed to be humbled through extreme measures, and that traditional therapeutic approaches were far too lenient to create real change. She believed in extreme accountability and claimed that her methods could help people break free from patterns of behavior that she viewed as destructive or fundamentally dishonest. Her approach attracted individuals who felt that conventional therapy hadn't worked for them, and she skillfully marketed her services as a more intensive, results-oriented alternative that could achieve breakthroughs where other methods had failed. But there was something dark in Jodi's professional history that should have served as a warning to anyone considering her services. The partnership between Ruby and Jodi began innocuously enough as a business relationship, but it quickly evolved into something much deeper and infinitely more concerning. Ruby became increasingly involved in connections, eventually serving as a presenter and passionate advocate for Jodi's methods. Those close to Ruby noticed that her personality began to change dramatically during this period, and the transformation was both rapid and deeply unsettling. In this footage, you can see an interaction that, while appearing playful on the surface, demonstrates the complex dynamics that were developing. Notice the intensity even in seemingly innocent moments.
That'll be fun. Gosh, you're cute. You are so cute. Okay, go get a book. I'll wait right here for you.
Friends and family members later reported that Ruby became more isolated and began adopting increasingly extreme views about child rearing and discipline that bore no resemblance to her previous parenting philosophy. She started to distance herself from family members who questioned her new approaches, and her online content reflected a growing rigidity in her thinking that troubled even her most loyal followers. The woman who had once been seen as a relatable mother, sharing her everyday experiences, was transforming into someone almost unrecognizable to those who knew her best. Meanwhile, Jodi Hildebrandt was facing serious questions about her own professional conduct and therapeutic methods. In 2012, she had been the subject of a disciplinary action by the Utah Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing. The action was directly related to her treatment of a patient, and while the specific details were not made public at the time, it raised significant questions about her therapeutic methods and professional conduct that should have been red flags for anyone considering her services. Despite this concerning history, Jodi continued to practice and attract clients who were drawn to her confident presentation and grandiose promises of rapid personal transformation. She had a particular talent for identifying individuals who felt frustrated with traditional approaches to personal development and therapy, and she knew exactly how to position herself as the revolutionary solution to their problems. Here we see Ruby and Jodi together, presenting themselves as experts in mental fitness. Their partnership was becoming the center of both their professional and personal lives.
Mapleton, Utah, at a home of somebody who is learning how to be a mental fitness trainer, and we have Ruby here. And Ruby is a part of the original 10 women that are being trained to become mental fitness trainers. So Ruby, you want to tell us about what a mental fitness trainer is?
Yes. So we are getting mentally fit the same way your body would get physically fit by running and lifting weights and working with a personal trainer. We are getting ready to be your mental fitness trainer. We're getting truth, really easy to teach. We're making it very simple, boiling it down to principles. That's how you're going to understand truth, is really knowing principles, being able to put words to it and help you, and you're going to feel so much better.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to span over here. We've got, I can't see.
There we go.
Tori and Sherry. How are you feeling about what you're getting ready to go out and do? Teaching truth to the world.
Excited.
So excited.
Excited.
Yeah.
Coming to a town near you. And here's Kim and Jess.
Hello.
Becky, Liz, Michelle. And then we got Johnny over there. Johnny.
And Johnny.
And Johnny.
And me.
And there's Pam. Did you get Pam?
Nope, Pam's over here.
Pam. Hello. Johnny is our male person who comes in and does the role play for the male, so we can practice. So he's quite talented to do the role plays with us, so we appreciate Johnny. Johnny's a man of truth as well, and he's also a mental fitness trainer. So glad that you're with us. And any of you who are interested in becoming a mental fitness trainer, we are going to open that up to train other people. So give us a call or email us at support@connectionsclassroom.com. And maybe you can come to the next retreat for the...
Come work out with us.
That's right, come work out.
Put you to work. Bye.
The influence Jodi had over Ruby became increasingly apparent and increasingly troubling to those in Ruby's circle. Ruby began adopting Jodi's terminology and worldview wholesale, often repeating concepts and phrases that seemed to come directly from her connections training without any critical evaluation. She started to view all of her relationships through the lens of Jodi's teachings, categorizing people as either supporting her growth or actively hindering it, with no middle ground permitted. This period marked a significant and irreversible turning point in Ruby's relationship with her own family. Her husband Kevin found himself increasingly marginalized in household decisions, and their marriage began to show signs of serious strain as Ruby's loyalty shifted toward Jodi and her teachings. Ruby's approach to parenting became more rigid and punitive, heavily influenced by Jodi's beliefs about the importance of children learning through what she termed natural consequences, though these consequences would prove to be anything but natural. The changes in Ruby's behavior and content didn't go unnoticed by her online community, and the response was increasingly one of concern and alarm. Comments on her videos began to reflect worry from viewers who noticed that the family dynamic seemed to be shifting in deeply troubling ways. Some longtime subscribers started to express genuine fear for the children's well-being, noting that they seemed less happy, more subdued, and visibly different from the children who had first appeared on the channel. But what was really happening behind the camera was far worse than any of these concerned viewers could have possibly imagined, and the signs pointing to something truly sinister were about to become impossible to ignore. However, Ruby and Jodi dismissed all of these concerns as coming from people who simply didn't understand their advanced approach to personal development and child rearing. They positioned themselves as being ahead of their time, suggesting that criticism came from those who weren't ready to embrace the difficult truths they were courageously teaching. This defensive posture only served to further isolate Ruby from her support network and deepen her dependence on Jodi's validation and guidance. As 2023 progressed, Ruby and Jodi's partnership deepened in ways that became increasingly concerning to everyone around them. They began spending more and more time together, with Ruby frequently staying at Jodi's home in Ivins, Utah for extended periods. This arrangement was ostensibly to allow them to work more closely on their connections projects and content creation, but it also meant that Ruby was spending extended periods away from her own family home and her responsibilities as a mother. The living situation became increasingly complex and troubling as some of Ruby's children began spending time at Jodi's residence as well. This arrangement was presented to the outside world as temporary and directly related to their participation in the Connections program. But the reality of what was happening during these days was far more concerning and dangerous than anyone outside their immediate circle could have realized. The children caught in this web had no way to communicate what they were experiencing to the outside world, trapped in a situation where their cries for help were reframed as resistance to personal growth. What would happen next will be triggered by an act of desperate courage that would finally expose the horrific truth that had been hidden for so long, but not before the situation escalated to levels that would shock even experienced investigators. By the summer of 2023, the situation had escalated to truly dangerous levels that put lives at risk. Ruby had become completely immersed in Jodi's worldview, adopting her methods and beliefs as absolute truth that could not be questioned or challenged under any circumstances. The children caught in this nightmare were experiencing something that would leave lasting emotional and physical scars, but they had been systematically isolated from anyone who might help them or even recognize their distress. The manipulation had become so complete that even clear signs of abuse were reframed as necessary steps in personal development. This body cam footage shows Ruby being pulled over by law enforcement just days before everything changed. At this point, she had no idea how close authorities were to uncovering the truth.
Hello. You know how fast you're going right there? No. Okay. Got you going 57 and a 35. I'll be back real quick. Control 12X17, 27 by number. 162-271-333. Okay, here's your info back. The citation for speed, got you going 57 and a 35 for a 50. You have 5 days and no more than 14 to contact Santa Clara Justice Court. It shows right there in that little box right there. And then just has a phone number right there. Okay, any questions for me? No. Okay, just slow down for me, please. Thank you.
Law enforcement was completely unaware of what was happening inside Jodi's home, as the women had become skilled at maintaining their public personas while hiding their private actions. Ruby appeared to be living a normal life, conducting business, creating content, and maintaining her public image as a parenting expert. But beneath this carefully constructed surface, a catastrophe was building that would soon explode into public view and expose the full extent of their crimes. The psychological manipulation had become so sophisticated that both women genuinely believed they were helping rather than harming the children in their care, which made their actions even more dangerous because they felt no need to hide what they were doing from their own perspective. The moment that would change everything was just days away, and it would come from the last place anyone would have expected, from within the House of Horrors itself. On August 30th, 2023, everything changed in an instant that would alter the course of multiple lives forever. A 12-year-old child made a decision that required unimaginable courage and desperation, managing to escape from Jodi Hildebrandt's home and running to a neighbor's house to ask for help. This child had endured unspeakable experiences, but had somehow retained enough hope and strength to take this crucial step toward freedom and safety. The neighbor who answered the door was immediately shocked by what they saw. The child's physical condition was so alarming and disturbing that they didn't hesitate for even a moment before calling 911 to report what was clearly a case of severe abuse. This single phone call, made by a stranger who chose to get involved rather than look the other way, would set in motion a chain of events that would expose the full extent of what had been happening behind closed doors and potentially save multiple lives. When law enforcement arrived at the scene, they were confronted with evidence so disturbing that it led to immediate and decisive action. The child who had sought help was visibly malnourished and showed clear signs of having been restrained. Evidence that spoke to a pattern of systematic abuse that went far beyond any reasonable definition of discipline or therapeutic intervention. Here is the body cam footage from Ruby's arrest, the moment when her carefully constructed world began to crumble.
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm going to search you before we put you in his car. Are you wearing a bra? Okay, I'm just going to go like this through and make sure you don't have anything. You said you're not wearing a bra? Okay.
Ruby Franke was arrested at Jodi Hildebrandt's residence that same day. Her arrest swift and decisive as law enforcement acted on evidence that clearly indicated serious crimes had been committed against children. Ruby appeared genuinely shocked by the turn of events, as if she couldn't comprehend how activities she had convinced herself were justified and necessary could possibly be viewed as criminal by others. Her world of rationalization and justification crumbled in an instant as she faced the reality of criminal charges and the end of everything she had built. Jodi Hildebrandt's arrest followed shortly after. Her composed demeanor during the arrest would be consistent with her behavior throughout the legal proceedings.
Got movement right here, right there. Got movement. Open the door! Jodi? I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out.
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna sit there and be on. There and be on.
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
They go into my house.
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't.
Jodi Hildebrandt was also taken into custody, and the subsequent investigation would reveal the full scope and systematic nature of their actions against children. Both women were charged with multiple counts of aggravated child abuse, charges that carry significant potential prison sentences and reflect the serious nature of their alleged crimes. The charges were not filed lightly, and they reflected the overwhelming evidence of systematic abuse that investigators uncovered during their thorough investigation of the case. In this police interview, you can see Ruby beginning to grasp the severity of her situation. The reality of facing criminal charges was clearly overwhelming for someone who had convinced herself she was helping rather than harming.
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tobler. We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first, do you live down here, or? Or do you live up north? Do you want to talk to me about where you live or how many kids you have? So we just spoke with your husband and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day, so it's up to you if you want to talk to us about what's going on. Would you feel more comfortable talking to one of us?
Maybe you want me to I can step out if you want.
Or if you feel more comfortable talking to him, I can step out.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
Okay. So you don't want to talk to us at all? Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
So yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you. We're just here to talk. And I mean, I'm not asking any criminal questions. If you don't want to talk to us, just let us know and we'll be done.
I've already told you.
That you want a lawyer? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Easy enough.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get for you in the meantime? I got the water. Do you need a bathroom break or anything like that? No? Okay.
The investigation that followed painted a comprehensive picture of systematic mistreatment that had been justified and rationalized through the twisted lens of Jodi's therapeutic philosophy and Ruby's complete adoption of those beliefs. Law enforcement, child protective services, and prosecutors worked together seamlessly to build a comprehensive case that would ensure justice for the children involved and prevent any possibility of this happening again. Jodi's police interrogation reveals the mindset of someone who, even when facing serious criminal charges, remained convinced of the righteousness of her methods.
How long you lived here in Highlands? 6 years. 6 years? The same house? Wow. You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Utah County.
Utah County.
And how long were you up there for?
I'm a little nervous.
You're that. You know, to be honest with you, if I was sitting over there, I'd be a little nervous too. So don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side. And right now, we're just asking you just typical questions, like how long you lived here, that kind of thing.
I watched too many detective movies.
How are you?
Which one's your favorite?
Me too. You can't, honestly, I sit there and I'm married and I sit there and watch those with my wife and I say that, like, we don't, that's not how we do it. Hey, that's not right. So don't take, there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But most of them are probably a little off base. We're not as mean. I won't get up and beat you up. We don't do that.
We just want to get to know you a little, so if you just kind of want to share a little about yourself and what brought you down here. And
So I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when we talk. So you guys seem nice people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to be difficult. This is really, if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy for what's going on.
That's really what we're
looking for. And you're an adult, and the thing about our interview, if we ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, you can just tell us, I don't want to answer that question. But we do want to have a basis and an understanding of what's going on in that home, or what went on up north that brought them into your home. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to share any of that and you don't want to answer any other questions, that's okay.
I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're going to flip my words. I don't know.
And that's the good thing about cameras. Everything, it's pretty much double recorded, audio, video, and it's for the safety of for you and for us, because we don't want to flip your words. And this will all be pretty much right there to support you. So we're not going to use anything against you.
He's so insistent then. He's an honest, good man. Goes to church. I trust him. Why would he say that to me then?
I don't know. I don't know your attorney, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying he's a good, honest man.
Yeah,
and I'm an honest person as well, so we get along great. And he just said, do not say anything.
Maybe just as an attorney, they
always say that, huh?
They always want to be with their client. I'm not sure, but like I said, at any time, if you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to. So the ball's really in your court on what you do want to answer and what you don't. So,
well, I think it looks sad that I don't want to answer anything, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. I'm really hanging on what he told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's your attorney?
Adam, his father's an attorney, his brother's an attorney.
Is he local?
Yeah.
Is it local? I don't know.
He's on the street where the town hall is.
Well,
They all have the same name.
The whole reason we're sitting here today is there's a lot of questions we have that we just maybe misunderstandings that we just need to clarify. And
I know, and I'd love to tell you if he were here, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I watch people flip things all the time, so I get it. I sit on your side. I get it. I wish people didn't do that, but they do.
well, if you're not willing to answer any of the questions about yourself, would you be willing to answer any questions maybe about Ruby or Kevin that you could help us understand? We just honestly want to understand what their dynamic is, what happened to the children, what caused their separation.
Right.
And after talking to Kevin, it sounds like you know a lot about their dynamic and their relationship. So if you could help us understand that at the least, that would be awesome. And that's nothing incriminating towards yourself because it's not pertaining to you. So if you could help us understand that.
Jodi, we're going to do this. You asked for your attorney, and we'll leave it at that. We'd like to maybe talk to you later when you have your attorney here present.
Absolutely.
And we'll go
He
down
made an
there, okay?
appointment at 4
He
on
made
Friday.
an appointment
Here.
here at 4.
He talked to the officer
Okay.
and said, "Can we make a time?" And he said out loud, "Do not talk to them."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk and see if we can schedule that, and maybe that's just something we just do with your attorney. Okay. Do you have any questions for us, or anything we can answer in the meantime?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Appreciate your time. Well, I'm gonna have you hang tight in here.
During the legal proceedings that followed, both Ruby and Jodi maintained that their actions were motivated by a genuine desire to help the children overcome what they perceived as serious behavioral problems that required intensive intervention. However, the evidence presented by prosecutors painted a clear picture of abuse that went far beyond any reasonable definition of discipline, therapy, or therapeutic intervention, exposing the dangerous delusions that had driven their actions. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come during sentencing, when the true depth of the psychological manipulation and the extent of the systematic abuse would finally be laid bare for the world to see. The case garnered intense national attention not only because of Ruby's social media fame and large following, but also because it highlighted the potential dangers of unregulated therapeutic practices and demonstrated how social media influence could be used to normalize and hide concerning behavior from public scrutiny. Mental health professionals across the country spoke out about the importance of evidence-based therapeutic practices and the serious dangers of approaches that lack proper oversight, accountability, and ethical boundaries. Ruby Franke ultimately accepted a plea agreement, formally acknowledging her guilt and accepting full responsibility for her actions and their consequences. In December 2023, she was sentenced to serve a significant prison term, with the judge noting the serious nature of her crimes and the lasting impact they would have on the children involved. Her sentencing marked the end of a legal case that had captivated public attention and raised important questions about child welfare, social media influence, and therapeutic accountability that continue to resonate today. Jodi Hildebrandt also accepted a plea agreement and received a substantial prison sentence for her role in the systematic abuse. Throughout the entire legal process, she maintained the same composed demeanor that she had displayed during her arrest, a stark contrast to Ruby's visible emotional distress and breakdown. Her sentencing brought legal closure to a case that had exposed the dangerous potential of therapeutic methods that operate outside established ethical and professional boundaries. The aftermath of this case has led to important and ongoing conversations about the regulation of family content on social media platforms and the urgent need for better protections for children who appear in online content. YouTube and other major platforms have faced significant pressure to implement stronger policies regarding family content and to provide better mechanisms for reporting concerns about child welfare that might be hidden behind carefully curated online personas. The case also highlighted the critical importance of community vigilance and the courage of individuals like the neighbor who called 911 when they witnessed a child in distress. That single phone call ultimately saved lives and brought justice to a situation that might otherwise have continued to escalate until even more severe damage was done to vulnerable children. For those who had followed Ruby's content over the years and trusted her parenting advice, the case served as a stark and unsettling reminder that social media presentations often mask complex and sometimes dangerous realities that exist far from the camera's view. The perfect family image that Ruby had so carefully cultivated online was ultimately revealed to be a meticulously constructed facade that concealed a disturbing reality that no one could have imagined. The children at the center of this case have been placed in safe environments where they can begin the long and difficult healing process with proper support and professional care. While their journey toward recovery will undoubtedly be challenging and lengthy, the swift action of law enforcement and child protective services ensured that they were removed from immediate danger before even greater damage could be done to their physical and emotional well-being. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Dark Trail Files. If this case has affected you, or if you know someone who might be in a situation where they need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to local authorities or child protective services. Remember to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe to Dark Trail Files for more in-depth true crime coverage, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay safe and keep seeking the truth behind the shadows.